Hey everyone, my name is Karan Jagtiani and today I will be covering the basics of web design which includes HTML, CSS and Bootstrap.
Let's begin with the workshop. And first of all, we will be covering HTML. So every website that we know and love, that we visit every day, it is created using HTML only. Like the basic code of that website always boils down to HTML, because HTML is the markup language of the web. So now, how do we start creating our own website? So let me tell you that it is just as easy as creating a basic notepad file. See, I will open a notepad file, and just a minute, like if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, then please type it in the chat box. At the end of this workshop, we will have a questionnaire session. In that, we will be answering all the questions that you have. And in the middle of the workshop, if my voice cracks down or if I get disconnected, then please let me know. So yeah, let's continue with the HTML part of this workshop. So like I said, it is just as easy as creating a basic text file. Now I have opened a blank notepad file, and what I will do is that I can start creating my own website from here itself. So I will say HTML open, HTML close. This is the basic syntax of HTML. Most of the tags in HTML are written like this. This is basically a tag. So a HTML tag defines to the browser, whatever browser you may be using, Chrome, Firefox, whatever. This defines to the browser that in this page, the markup of the website will be written, as HTML stands for hypertext markup language. So within this, now what we can do, we can have a head tag open, head tag close, simple as that. So what is a head tag? Basically, head tag contains the meta information of your website. And now what is meta information? Meta information is basically the details that you as a developer want to give to the browser and not to the end user. So the meta information is contained within this tag. We will later on see that what else is written within this tag. So I will firstly type the title tag, title open, title close, the basic markup of HTML, tag open, tag close. And the tag is closed using a forward slash always. Here in the head and HTML also you can see. So in the title, I will just say my new website. This is what I will say in the title. And now below the head tag, I will create another tag called body. Body open, body close, again, similar syntax. And within the body tag, your basic markup, the assets which are visible to the user, like the elements that are visible to the user. In our website as well, let me just show it to you again. In our website as well, whatever is visible to you, that is contained within the body tag and not any other tag. Without the body tag, the browser won't be able to identify that we are supposed to be rendering this in this manner. So that's why the body tag is used. This is basic markup of HTML. Now I will just create a simple text with the p tag, which is the paragraph tag. I will say welcome to my website. That's it. This is our basic HTML code. Now what I will do is that I will save this. So I hit Control S, and whenever you are saving your HTML file, make sure that you save as type. You select the all files button, and in the file name, you can name it whatever you want. I'll just say home.html. Save. Now here you can see a new file was created. And if I open this file, as you can see, my basic bare minimum website was created. And as you can see, let me just bring up my notepad. So see, In the title tag, I said my new website. Here also you can see that on the tab of the browser, it says the title is the tab of your browser, and within the body tag, my basic paragraph tag, you can see welcome to my website. So I will add two more tags here. I will say H1. H1 is basically a header, and there are 6 types of header. One is H1, and one is like total 6. There are 6, and the largest one is H1, and the smallest one is H6. So I'll just say largest header and smallest header. I'm saving this file, Control S, hit refresh. You can see that largest header, which was within the H1 tag, and smallest header, which was in the P tag. So I only want to keep the H1 tag in my HTML file. So I'll remove these. Those were just for demonstration. And I'll just save this and I'll close my notepad. So for this entire workshop, we will not be making our website in Notepad because it takes time to type each and every tag and to close each and every tag. So there is an IDE called Visual Studio Code. This IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, basically used for developing big projects. So a website is obviously a big project if it's of a large scale. So we always want to make our website in a development environment. And this is what Visual Studio Code is. I will just show you how to download this. You can also download it. So I'll just go to Google. Here you have to just type VS Code. Just type VS Code. And the first link that you can see, in that, go to the sub link and click on download Visual Studio Code. Here you can see multiple options are there for different operating systems. I will select Windows as that's what I'm running on. And just it's as simple as that. Just click on download. And after this installer gets downloaded, you can install it. It's pretty simple. So I will not be downloading this because I already have it installed. So yes, this is the IDE which we will be using, and there are a lot of reasons to use this IDE. We will go through those reasons one by one throughout this workshop. So yes, we added a H1 tag as the header. Now let me just save this and let's view our website. Basic title and a header tag. Now what I want to do, I want to add an image into our website. So for that, we have the image tag. So just select image, and now we need the link to that image. If we want to display any image, we need to provide the link of that image. So let me just get some images which I downloaded. I will get these images and I will paste it here. Done. So now I can link to these images directly because they are in my working directory. This is the working directory. As I pasted it here, you can see the images appear here as well. So now we can say / and image1. So let's see what image1 is. Refresh. So see, this is the image which we just entered into the markup of our web page. But as you can see, like no website has an image this big. We don't want this. We want it to be small. So what we can do is that we have the option of specifying the width and height of the image. So for that, we have attributes called width. Here I can just give a value. So I will say 600. And we also have the attribute called height. Here I will just say 400. Let me just save. And if I refresh, so as you can see, the image was resized according to my convenience. Whatever I want to set, I can set it that way. So yes, but this is not a good method of applying the width and height property to your image. And why is that? Because if I say 600 width and height is 400, so here I am specifying my own number. and the actual width and height of the image could be something else. See here, the actual width is 1920 and the actual height is 1080. Basically, it's in full HD, and like some of you may be watching YouTube. So on that, we know that, right? See, there are multiple quality settings, 480p, 1080p, whatever. So the actual dimension of 1080p is 1920 by 1080. So here I am saying 600 by 400. Now, if we do the basic math here, we can see that the aspect ratio of the image is not being maintained. Like that is pretty obvious. So we don't want to do it this way. We don't want to specify a actual number to our image. So for that, what we can do is that we can add CSS into our web page. So how can we do that? There are multiple ways of adding CSS. The easiest way is using the style tag.
Karan,
Yeah.
can you just increase your font size?
Yeah, sure. Yes. Good point. I will do that. And now is it okay? Should I increase it more?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay, yes. Yeah, and I also wanted to say that please don't unmute yourself. If there is a problem like this, if it's a font thing, then you can definitely interrupt me. Or if my voice is not coming, then also. But please don't unmute your mic without any reason. So yes, let us continue. In the style tag, yes, as I was saying, if you want to include CSS into your web page, there are multiple methods, and the most easiest method is to include style tags into your web page. Style, obviously. Well, first of all, let me tell you what CSS is. Like, as you can see, this is a very basic website, and the websites that I showed you in the beginning, they were looking pretty good, and most of the code of that website, like 80% was CSS and only 20% was HTML. So keep that in mind. To make a website look good, you have to have good knowledge about your CSS. So yes, CSS. So what we were trying to do, we were trying to resize our image. So for this, the easiest method to access any element, everything is an element. Remember that. H1 is an element. The IMG is an element. Style tag, that too is an element. So for accessing any element, which is a default of HTML, what we can do is we can directly call it by its name. If it's image, directly say image. Now here again, I will be specifying the width like before, 600 pixels, and height will be 400 pixels. See, again, I'm hard coding the values, but I will just show you that there was no change within the web page. That means saying it here or saying it here is the same thing. Now, as I said, we want to maintain the aspect ratio of the image. So how can we do that? We can say max width is equal to 100%. I will just say max width is equal to 100%, and I will keep the height at 400 pixels. So let me just save this. If I hit reload, yes. Now, as you can see, the image is not distorted. Before, the width was distorted a bit, but now it is not distorted. So this is how you maintain the aspect ratio of any image. And also, if you want to include, as I said, there are multiple methods of adding CSS. So this was the easiest method. Now I will show you another method. So for that, what we can do is that we can have our entire CSS code in another file. So I will create a new file in VS Code. It's as simple as go to your left panel and click on this file with a plus icon. It says new file. I will just say style.css. That's it. Now what I'll do, I will remove this from here and I will paste it here, and I will remove the style tags. Now let's see what happens. If I hit refresh, as you can see, the image is in its original dimension, which is 1920 by 1080. Why is that? We have already given the image and height to this. So why is this happening? So this is happening because this home.html file, it doesn't know that your CSS is written within this style.css file. So we need to link that CSS file. So for that, we have the tab called link tab, and we have to say rel and style sheet. And style sheet is just referring that this is going to be a CSS file. Now, if we give the reference to this, so I will show you the beauty of Visual Studio Code. Now I just have to press dot slash. Dot slash means current working directory. Current working directory means this only, this file structure. And as soon as I press dot slash, you can see that VS Code is giving me recommendations as to, do you want to select image one? Do you want to select size style dot? So I just have to click. Now, if I hit save, go back to my browser, hit refresh, now you can see that the image has again been resized and our CSS code has been moved to another file. So this is how you link an external CSS file. So now what I want to do is that I want to make this header in the middle of the page. So how can I do that? So firstly, I will be creating a div. Div is basically a division. What does a division do? Division is basically a divider between multiple elements. Like, let's say if I have this image above the div as well, so this will act as a divider between these two elements. So this doesn't have any visual representation, but it just acts as a divider. So let me just add a class and I will call this my header. So I will tell you why I said class. So first, let's go to our style.css, and here I will add a dot, a period, and I will say my header. So by doing this, what we are doing is that we can access the elements which are enclosed within this tag, the div tag. So I gave it a class of my header, and now in style.css, if I'm accessing my header, so what I can do is that I can say h1, space h1. So what does this mean, space h1? It means that within my header, go and look for the h1 tag. This is what it means. So here what I'll say is that I will say text align center. That's it. I will hit save. I will save this file and I will save this file as well. Remember to save both of your files. Sometimes it happens that you forget to save something and it doesn't work. So yeah, save all your files. And as you can see, my header is in the middle of the page. So that's how easy it is to start styling anything you want. So now, as you can see, this website is pretty boring. Like, I don't like this. I want this to look good. How can we do that? So as I said, CSS is essential for making your website look good. And another thing that is essential, like some people may disagree to this, but I say that it is essential to include Bootstrap in your web page. It is essential. I declare it. This is essential. So I will just change this header to welcome to my website. I'll just make that small change. And yes, so Bootstrap is essential. So how do we include Bootstrap? So there is no file or there is no extension for Bootstrap. We can't just say main.bootstrap. There is no extension for it. So let me tell you what is Bootstrap and why is it used. So Bootstrap is an open source CSS framework. So what does this mean? Open source means that it is completely free. You can use it whenever and wherever possible for free. No one is going to ask you. And as they say, it is a CSS framework. So basically, Bootstrap is completely written in CSS. If you include Bootstrap into your web page, you are just giving it a name of Bootstrap. But at the end of the day, you are including CSS files only. So let me just show you how to include Bootstrap. And why is Bootstrap used? So Bootstrap is used for making your website responsive. Now, what is a responsive web page? I will again go to our portal, Revolution. And here, what I am doing is I am pressing the F12 button. I pressed the F12 button, and here you can see the developer tools were opened by Chrome. This is the shortcut for opening it in Chrome. I don't know the shortcut for other browsers, but for Chrome, it's this. So as you can see, I am making the developer options a bit wider towards the left. So as you can also see, our text is getting adjusted based on the width of the web page. Here you can see the width is specified. So if I adjust this, the width is changing, and accordingly my website is also adjusting. And if I go into the mobile view, so see, on mobile view, these blocks are stacked on top of each other. And if I close this, they are besides each other. So this is what responsive means. Responsive mobile first. This is how you create mobile first applications, because you can't just create a web application and expect all the users to be a computer user. Like I am showing this to you on a computer. So you can't expect everyone to be from using computers. And actually, most of the users are mobile users nowadays. No, not many people open websites on their phone, on their computer. Most people open it on their phone only. So it should always be responsive and mobile first design of your website. So that is what Bootstrap does. So how do we include Bootstrap into our web page? So on Google, just type Bootstrap introduction, and the first link that you get bootstrap.com and introduction Bootstrap. Click on this. And here they have conveniently given us a quick start guide as to how we can include Bootstrap into our web pages. So the most simple thing is just copy this CSS file. As I said, every Bootstrap is completely in CSS, and this is a CDN of Bootstrap. Now, what does a CDN mean? CDN is basically content delivery network. It means that Bootstrap has provided a content delivery network for all the users across the world to acquire these files for free. And they can do it just by copying this link tag and pasting it into their web page. That's how simple it is to include Bootstrap. So that's what a CDN is. It's to include files from a server, and it's Bootstrap server that we are including it from. I will just show you what exactly Bootstrap looks like. So see, this is the actual code of Bootstrap. It's thousands and thousands of lines of CSS code, and we just have to include this directly. We don't have to type it manually and make our web page responsive. They have done this for us. And now we have included CSS. We also need to include JavaScript. For some of you may know this, that JavaScript is basically the scripting language of the web. We won't be covering JavaScript today, but I will just tell you the basic difference between a website which has JavaScript and which doesn't have JavaScript. So I'll just give an example with this Bootstrap website only. So JavaScript is a scripting language and HTML is a markup language. So what does these two mean? Markup language means that you can design stuff with that language. Markup, basically, as the name suggests. And scripting language means that you can add logic into your website. Like if some of you may be familiar with coding and programming languages such as C, C++, Java, then you may know that the bare minimum logic that we write is if else. If this, then do this. If not, then do that. If it's. So this is what JavaScript adds to your web page. Now I'll give you an example. If I click on the download button, so something happens in the background, right? A script runs in the background. So as I clicked on the download button, a setup appeared. So how is that done? That is done in JavaScript. So we won't be covering JavaScript in this workshop, maybe in another workshop. Yeah, so coming back to our web page. So we have included Bootstrap into our web page. One is the CDN of CSS file. Here you can see bootstrap.min.css. Then we have included 3 script tags. One is jQuery, one is popper.js, and one is bootstrap.min.js. these JavaScript files are added for giving the animations to your web page, like I showed you in the Revolution website. When it was adjusting, it wasn't just going directly to that spot, it was animating towards that spot. Basically, for now, there is a lot more to this, but for now, you just understand that JS files are used for animating the elements. And yes, so we have included Bootstrap, and these two files, if you may be wondering why Java jQuery and popper.js, why did we include this? So basically this is done because these two files are dependencies of Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is dependent on these two files. What does that mean? That means that there is some code in bootstrap.min.js which utilizes code from these two files. So it's a dependency. Like again, I'll give you an example from a coding point of view. When we do a hash include, so stdio.h or any programming language, C, C++, then after doing that, we are able to access some functions, right? So these are two dependencies of Bootstrap. That's how it works. Now I'll just hit save. I will make this. Okay, yes. Yeah, now if I hit refresh, already you can see that there were some style changes even without me adding any Bootstrap to it. I just added the CDN. I did not code in Bootstrap. So as you can see that the font style of this was also changed. Already Bootstrap is doing its magic. So now we have added a basic header and a basic image to our website. So firstly, I will remove this image and let's start developing an actual website. So first, before the welcome to my website, what we will be creating is a navigation bar. What is a navigation bar? Basically, a navigation bar is used for navigating throughout your web pages. If a website doesn't have a navigation bar, then in my opinion, it's either a single page application or it's pretty useless. So navigation bar is a must in every website. So I will just give you an example. If I click on this button right here, a navigation screen appears. Basically, there are multiple methods of showing the navigation bar to your user. This is a unique method of acquiring the entire screen. If you hit the cross button, see this logic is done using JavaScript. If I hit cross, then it disappears. If I click, it appears. So yeah, if I go to login page, it takes me to the login page. From login page, I can go to register to login to home. I can navigate through the website, right? So every website should have a navigation bar. So let's create that in our web page. For that, we need the nav tag. And within this nav tag, we have to specify links to other pages, right? So for specifying links to other pages, we have to create other pages, right? So first, let me create a about.html page. Just a random page I'm creating called about. I'll just say here about page. Done. Now let me create another file called contact.html. Done. Contact page. Hit save. Go to your home page again. Now we will start adding links to these pages. So for this, what I will be using is a unordered list. So UL. And within this, I will create list items. So UL stands for unordered list and LI stands for list items. So here I'll just say home, then another list item of about. And see, I forgot to tell you this, but whenever I create a new element, what I'm doing is that I just say LI and I hit tab. So Visual Studio automatically adds that tag into my web page. I don't have to manually open close tag, then open close tag. I don't have to do that. This is another beauty of Visual Studio Code. Now I'll say contact. I'll hit save and I will refresh my page. So the image is gone because I removed it and a basic unordered list has appeared. What is an unordered list? As the name suggests, it's an unordered list. it has bullet points, and it is basically a list. If I change U from unordered list to O, then we will get a ordered list. I don't know if this is visible. I'll just zoom in. Yes, ordered list is 1, 2, and 3, and unordered list is just bullet points. I'll just zoom out again. Yeah. So we created, I want it to be unordered list, not an ordered list. Yes, unordered list. Yeah, again, the bullet points have appeared. And now we can start adding Bootstrap into our web page. Now the magic happens. If I add a class of navbar, navbar is a class of Bootstrap, and this is just a simple class which declares this nav tag as a navbar. So not much has changed. Two things changed here. I will just zoom in. One, the font changed, as Bootstrap has its own fonts, and the second thing that changed was some amount of margin was added. So I'll just show you what exactly margin is. So for that, I will add my own class, myNav. This is a Bootstrap class and this is my class. In order to include multiple classes to your element, what we have to do is it's just space separated, like class 1 space class 2, and you can have a number of classes. So I will go to style.css. Remember that style.css was already linked, and here I will access this class. So what was it? myNav. I will say my-nav, and I'll open this, and here I will say margin top of 20 pixels, and I saved both of the files. And if I hit refresh, as you can see, the web page moved down by 20 pixels. That is what margin does. So we don't want this right now. We'll see if we need it later. So yeah, then we added the navbar class. Then I also want to change the color of this navbar. So instead of going here and changing the color manually, there are classes defined in Bootstrap already for us. One of them is navbar dash dark. Then other is bg dash dark. Now if I hit save, I'll also save this. As you can see, my navigation bar has turned into a dark themed navigation bar. So yes, navigation bar turned to dark color, and there is another class that we need to add, which is navbar dash expand dash md. What this is doing is that it is telling to the browser to specify the entire width of the browser. So whatever the width may be, just occupy everything, the entire thing, whether it be mobile, laptop, tablet, whatever. So we did that. Nothing changed because it was already occupying the entire space. But it is always better to specify that, just in case, because you should also know that there are multiple browsers out there: Chrome, Opera, Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, and all the browsers have their own engines for rendering HTML, and some browsers may support something and some browsers may not support something. So it is always better to specify such things, even if it's happening by default. So yeah, moving on. We also need to add a class to this unordered list called navbar nav. Basically, we are saying that within this navigation bar, so we called it nav bar, and dash nav, as in the list items within this will be the navigation links. So navbar nav does that, and let's save this and let's see what happens. So as you can see, by adding navbar nav, all the list items have been placed beside each other. Before they were one after the other, stacked on top of each other. Now they are besides each other. And now I will say ML auto. ML auto means that align this towards the right side. Now it is aligned towards the right side. Normally the links are on the right side and the name of your web page is on the left side. So you can choose to do whatever you want. Don't add ML auto, and you can keep it on the right side and have your name on the left side, whatever. So yes, Now we also need to add classes to our list items. We have to call this nav dash item. And again to all the classes, all the list items. Nav item. Okay. Now let's see. Nothing changed, but as I mentioned earlier, it is good to specify to the browser that these are going to be the navigation bar items. So now if I go back to my navigation bar, if I click on this, nothing is happening. So obviously that is not happening because we have not linked it to our external pages. So for that, we need to add the anchor tag A, which is specified by A. I will open that and I will close that after my text. And here we need to specify the link to this. So href for specifying the link, basically reference. Href stands for reference. And here I will say, what is this? Home, so home.html. Then again, open a tag. It automatically closed it for me because VS Code helps you with this stuff. And again, href about.html. Let's do it again for contact as well. A tag open, a tag close. Move your text within this link, within the a tag. Now give your reference to whatever page you want to refer to, contact.html. Now if I hit save, if you refresh, the color was changed. I'll just zoom in. This may not be visible. Yeah, the color was changed and now it is blue in color. Bootstrap by default added this color. So, and the other thing is that all of these items are close together. Like I don't like this. So we will change that. But before that, let's see if these links are working. If I click on home, I stay on home. If I click on about, I go to about page. So here you can see about page was written. And you can also see that this is a HTML file and I did not add this basic markup of HTML open, HTML close, head open, head close. I directly wrote about page. So if there is only one thing that you want to print to the browser, then doesn't matter what, if you include any tag or not, it will treat it as a text only and it will display it directly. So about page was working. Is contact page working? Yes, it is working. Now if I go back, so firstly, what we can do now, we can change the spacing between these two list items, like these three list items. So how can we do that? We need to define our own class, which we already did, myNav. And now let's go to our style.css. So now I want to change the spacing between these list items. So how can I do that? So I will do myNav and li. As I mentioned earlier, I want to access the list items which are present within this class of myNav. Here I will say padding, right, of 20 pixels. Oh, so what is this doing? This is adding some amount of padding of right of that element. So if I refresh this, you can see that now it's looking a bit better. So every element from the right added its own padding of 20 pixels. So now it's looking better. I also want my website's name on the left side. So let's add that. Here, what I'll do is that I'll show you another trick in VS Code. I will say p dot h3 dot navbar dash brand. I just did this, and if I hit tab, then it created a paragraph tag with class of h3 and another class of navbar brand. Now here I can say my website. That's it. If I hit save, if I go here, you can see that the name of the website was added into the navigation bar. Now it's turning out to, it's looking a bit better now. We can make it even more better. So firstly, then what else do we want to do? We want to change the color of this. I don't like the blue color. So again, I will access the myNav class my nav, and I want to change the colors of the list items, right? But the as you noticed, after adding the a tag, the color was added to this list item. So list item is no, we can't just say color in this element. We have to say it to the anchor tag, because that is what is changing the color of it. So I'll just say color equals to white. Just as simple as that. Whatever you want to do in CSS, most of the things are written in basic English. So if you want to do something, just specify that. I want to change the color, I'll say color colon white. That's it. Now if I hit save, refresh, now color was changed to white color. But there is a different problem now. The color of the elements is white, but if I hover over this, if I take my mouse over it, it changes to blue color, and it also has this underline to it. So I don't want both of those things. So what we can do, we can add another property with my nav again, a and colon hover. So I want to change the behavior of that element when it is hovering. When we are hovering over it, I want to change the behavior. So I'll just say color equals to, let's say dark gray. Color equals to dark gray. And we also don't want that underline. So for that we have text decoration of none. Text decoration none. Now if I hit save, refresh, nothing changed. If I hover over this, now you can see it's much better, much better. I'll zoom out to my actual view. This is how the navigation bar would look like. So I'll zoom back in again so it's visible to you. And now this navigation bar was added into our home page. But if I go to about page, nothing is there. So we want the navigation bar to be present on all of your pages, right? So what I'll do is that since I am the only one who wrote this navigation bar, I can directly copy and paste this. There is no need to type this again and again. If you have already written it, so just write it once and then you can copy and paste. There is no problem in that. So yeah. So now we again need the basic markup of HTML right here, because now we are going to be including tags related to HTML. So VS Code has another shortcut. If I press exclamation point, that is done by Shift+1 on your keyboard. And if I hit tab, automatically the basic markup of a website was added. This was done by Visual Studio Code. That's why I recommend using this. It improves your development time by a lot, and it counts at the end. Like you can develop websites much quicker with VS Code. And there are other IDEs as well. There is this IDE called Emmet and another IDE called Atom. Both of them also have shortcuts like this. I prefer VS Code. Again, I'll do exclamation point tab. In the body, just paste your navigation bar, and I'll just say what we can say. I'll add a header of, again, I'm using Visual Studio Code syntax, t.h, let's say h3, the medium sized header. And also I want that header to be in the center. So text center. Now if I hit tab, it created a P of class h3 and text center. I did not have to type this manually, like class equals to then this quotation marks and this. I did not have to do that. So I'll say this is the contact page. I will save this. Again, you can copy and paste. There is no problem in that. And I'll say if it's similar across pages, then it's okay. Now if I'll refresh, I'll go to the about page. So yes, we did not include the Bootstrap CDNs into this file. So for the about page, it does not know what navbar is, navbar expand MD is. It does not know that. So we need to also include the Bootstrap files. And I'll also include this CSS file if I need it. So again, in the head tag, you have to specify these links in your head tag. I'll save this. Then Again, in your head tag, we'll also change the title of this to contact page. For about page, again, about page. I will hit save. Now, if I refresh, our navigation bar has appeared and this is the about page. If I go to about, if I go to home, if I go to contact, it is working. And you can see that there is a size change because I have zoomed in on the home page and I haven't zoomed in on the about page. So now it is similar. Now we can navigate through our website. So the one of the essential thing of the website is ready. Let me just change the font size of this anchor tags. So for that, simple as saying font size, and I'll say 20 pixels. So there are multiple units for defining your value. One unit is px, another unit is, you can also define it in centimeter. You can also define it in inches. I prefer pixels because that is the value used for rendering things on a device. So pixels is convenient for me. If I refresh, now it's looking a bit better. We can also increase the font weight of this. So font weight, now I want this to be 600. I'll show you what font weight does. Now, make sure that you are paying attention to this. As you can see, the thickness of each letter is not that much. Now, if I refresh, the thickness has increased. It is looking a bit better now. Also, we can change the spacing between each letter. So just simple as saying letter spacing, and I'll just say 1 pixel. We don't want this to be much, just 1 pixel. And now it's looking like a navigation bar. So yes, this is the navigation bar. Okay, so navigation bar was added. Now there is another Bootstrap element that makes your website appealing to the users, and that is called a carousel. What is a carousel? I'll just show you. So Bootstrap provides the carousel, and what this is basically a container which can have multiple elements, but they are hidden from the user unless you press any of the arrows. This is a carousel. This is normally present within production level web applications. And yeah, so we can navigate through the slides. So now we will be adding a carousel to this. Okay, so let's add it below our welcome to my website element. Let's add it below. So a carousel. So for that, we need a division. And within this division, and also keep in mind that HTML is a case insensitive markup language. What does that mean? If you have, let me just give you an example. If you have this division, and if I say div in capital, that won't affect anything. See, it's still working. That won't affect anything because it's a case insensitive language. You can type it in small case or capital case, whatever you prefer. I prefer to write it in small case. So yes, we were making our carousel. So for this, we need to add multiple classes. So the first class is basically whatever you want. The first class will always be the thing that you want. So a carousel. Then within this, we can add other classes. We'll look into that later. Now there is a property which the JavaScript file of the Bootstrap is providing called data write. Data write, I will explain this later. First, let's complete the markup of this. And we also need to provide a ID. So what is an ID? ID is basically like a class. ID is like a class, and you can access elements using the ID, just similar to as accessing it using a class. Here we said dot mynav because mynav was a class. But if I said hashtag mynav, so that would mean that mynav is an ID, not a class. Mynav is ID. So I will revert my change and I will go back to my HTML page. Here I said ID of slides and data ride carousel. And also make sure that your spelling is correct. So CAROUSEL. Yes, carousel. Then now we need to add unordered list again. So UL tab, Visual Studio Code, helping me with the opening and closing tags. We also need to provide a class here. So carousel indicators. This, I will also explain this later once we get to see the actual carousel. And within this, if we are opening an unordered list, then we also need to open a list item, li. So here we need to specify another JavaScript property like data write. Here we need to specify data target. And here in the data target field, we need to specify the ID of this navigation bar, which is slides. So how do we specify an ID? I just said it earlier. It's hashtag slides. Then this is basically we have created a list item which is going to be accessing this division using this ID. So I will show you why that is required again later. Then we also need to specify another property called data slide 2, which should be a number. So from a lot of you from a programming background may know that an array always starts from 0 and not 1. So again, as this is a JavaScript property and as it is a programming language, here also we need to specify the first element as 0. So yes, the 0th element. Now I need to create, so depends on how many elements I want in my carousel. In the Bootstraps example, there were 3 slides. So I'll also make 3 slides. So yes, again, li, data target, same thing. Access it by ID, which is slides, then data, slide 2. Now this is the second element, so we need to specify one. The only difference here was 0 and 1. So what I'll do is I'll copy and paste this again and say 2. So now we have 3 indicators. I said carousel indicators. So these are 3 indicators and not the actual display. So now we will work on the actual display of the carousel. So div, most of the things that are written in HTML, they are done using divisions only, because that is easier to divide the elements to separate the elements from other elements. That is the simplest method. So here we need to give a class of carousel, ROUSEL -inner. This is specifying that this class will contain the content of this carousel. So in this again, we need to yes, where was I? Yeah, so in this again we need to create another division, and here I will be creating another class of carousel item. Just like we had the list item in our navigation bar, here we have carousel item to specify that this is going to be one item within this carousel. And then we can also create an image in this, and I just said image img and tab. So that is the markup that Visual Studio recommended it to me directly, the src and alt. So alt I did not cover earlier. Alt is basically here you provide alternative text. So this is done because if for some reason the website was not able to display your image onto the screen, it will display the text instead. It will say image not display. If I don't do this, then there will be nothing on the screen. So this is done to just to let the user know that there was supposed to be an image. Normally this doesn't happen nowadays, because nowadays the all the engines are able to handle all the types of images. So we don't really need to worry about this, but still it is a good practice to have, just in case someone is using a very old device. So yeah, image src, I want one of these three images. I'll just say dot slash means current working directory and image one. I did that, image one. And now we can also have text displayed over this image. So for that, what we can do, create another div. I'll just zoom out just a bit. Yeah, I hope this is visible. So yes, I'll create another div of class called CAROUSEL caption. What is this doing? This will act as a caption and it will display this on top of this image. So here we can just say h1. I'll use VS Code syntax, and we need on class of display2. So here we will say, I will just say HTML, basic HTML, just HTML text. So one carousel item was created. I said that I will be creating 3 items. So as we have 3 indicators here, so we will be creating 3 division elements according to these 3 list items. So what we can do, again, you don't have to type everything over and over. If you have already written something and there is a small change, like I want to change this to image 2, and I want to, instead of saying HTML, I want to say CSS. If there is a small change like this, no need to write everything over and over again. Again, I'll do it carousel item image 3, and instead of HTML, I'll just say bootstrap. Yeah. Now there is one more thing that we need to do. We need to specify that one of these items is going to be a active item. So let me just remove these extra tags. Those were added by mistake. So here, let me just remove this. I'll remove that as well. So now carousel inner, and I have to say active. Now if I save, if I hit refresh, okay, something went wrong. Now we need to check out what that was. So yes, active is not supposed to be specified here. It is supposed to be specified here. And this division tag does not contain these 3 items. So yes. Now let's save and hit refresh. As you can see, our carousel was created, but it is not aligned as it should be, but the buttons are at least working. See, these buttons are working. So now this is not aligned in the center. So there is a very basic class called text center. That's it. I just have to do that and save. Now my carousel was added in the center of the screen. And I also want to have some extra spacing between this welcome to my website and my carousel. So what I will do for that is, firstly, I will add some amount of padding. So there are 2 methods of adding the padding to an element. One I already showed by using CSS, and another method is Bootstrap has its own class called P. P signifies the padding of an element. And if I say -3, so -3 means 30 pixels. Keep that in mind. If I say -2, then that means 20 pixels. And I am just saying P-3. So before I showed you guys padding right. So this was only specifying padding towards the right side. But if I just say padding directly, then this means that it will add the amount of padding which we specify to all 4 sides: top, right, bottom, left, all 4 sides. So that is exactly what I am doing here. I am saying add padding to all 4 sides, that too of 30 pixels. So this is another reason why Bootstrap is so preferred by the developers, because it's just as simple as this. P-3 to add padding. Now I haven't hit refresh yet. Now the image, the carousel should move to down towards the downside. Yes, see, now it did move towards the downside. And I also want to add some amount of padding to my header. So let's do that. Where is it? My header, yes. I will say P-2. I don't want it 30 pixels, just 20 pixels. Yes, now it's looking a bit better. So this is how you add a carousel to your web page. And this makes your website a bit interactive. Like if you want to display multiple images instead of doing one after the other, like first image, second image, third image, scroll down. That is pretty boring to the user. So Bootstrap provides this very good feature of carousel, and you can directly add this. So now let's move further. Let's add some more elements into our website. I will show you other elements as well. So the carousel was done. Now what we can add is, let's add some text into our website, and that too text which is good looking and not the text which I showed you earlier. So for that, firstly, I will create a class with a division called row. Now what is a row class? In Bootstrap, basically they have provided us a grid system. So a grid system is basically a matrix type of thing. If you know what a matrix is, that is basically what a grid is. And that grid is of the number of columns in that grid is 12. Keep that in mind. That we are supposed to know how many columns are there. And there are 12 columns in a Bootstrap grid. And everything is rendered according to that grid. And Bootstrap is rendering it according to what we specify the grid to be. Like it will always be 12 grids, but we can also specify that I only want to occupy four grids of those. I don't want to occupy all 12. So a row was created and 12 columns were created in the background. Like if I hit refresh, nothing will change because I haven't added anything. So if there is a row, then there are obviously supposed to be columns. So I will just say col, C-O-L. And if I hit tab, Visual Studio Code with helping me with the syntax. Now I said column. Now only column won't do the work. I also need to specify the amount of grid space which I will be occupying. So if there are 12 spaces, I'll just add that in a comment. So how is a comment added? It is in HTML. It is less than sign, exclamation point, and dash dash. And again, you have to close that comment with dash dash greater than sign. Here I will say 12 columns. 12 columns are there in Bootstrap. So I want to create a text area where there are 3 columns and they occupy the same amount of space every column occupies. So for that, if there are 12 columns and if I want to create 3 columns which occupy the same space, I have to divide that by 3. So column 4. And here I will provide text. So for text, first I will provide a header. So for that, again, Bootstrap has multiple methods of creating a header. You can directly say h2/h2, or you can say p.h2, which means that you create a paragraph tag and give it a class of h2. So this visually looks better if you do it by this method, p class of h2. So now we can add a header. I'll just say header 1. And below this, I also want to add text. So again, p.h5. So here what I'm doing is that header, I'm keeping it a low number. So it will be bigger in size, h2. And the actual text, I'm keeping it a larger number, which means that it will be smaller in size. So I want some dummy text now. I want some amount of text. So there is this tool called Lorem. Like it's not necessary that you need to have this tool. I will use this for my convenience. And if I say Lorem 50 and if I hit tab, then I get 50 words that are dummy text basically. See, this is dummy text. You can't even understand what this is. Like, you may understand, I don't know, but I don't understand this. This is basically dummy text. So as I said, there are 12 columns. I occupied the first 4 columns. Now I want to occupy rest of the 8 columns which are left. So again, I created this so I can copy and paste. Again, everything will be 4, 4, 4. And instead of header 1, I'll say header 3 in the third one, header 2 in the second one. I'll keep the text as it is because it's dummy text anyways. If I hit refresh, as you can see, 3 columns were created. So this is just as easy as that. Normally, if you want to display a lot of text like this, then you don't do it one after the other. Like this one, then below this one. It is convenient to show it to the user in this manner. This is a lot more convenient and it's a lot more readable. The user will also feel a bit better if it's this way. So this is another method. And I'm just giving you this example of adding text. Actually, I will just show you an example. If you go to any e-commerce website, so in that, basically whatever is shown, it is shown in a grid format, right? Like one after the other. This is also a grid. See, one after the other. This is besides this. This is besides this. This is done using Bootstrap. So the same concept is being applied over there as well. Like how this is appearing beside this and how this is appearing besides this. Same concept is applied within e-commerce websites as well. And they also use Bootstrap. Almost all the big websites use Bootstrap. It is a big thing. So yes, now we added this. It's not looking that good. So let's add a new classes to make this good. So first I will add this class of container fluid. This basically means that now you can see this text is overflowing a bit. I don't want this scroll bar at the bottom. I don't need that. I want this to occupy only this much space, not overflow. So if I say container fluid and if I hit save, the bottom scroll bar was gone and it is occupying only this much, the 100% of the width. Now I also want to center these. I also want to center these headers. So for that, we can just say, just as simple as saying text center. Text center. That's it. Again, I'll just do it again 3 times. Since we have 3 columns, do it 3 times. Again, text center. Save. If I hit refresh, these 3 tags were centered. Now I also want this text to look a bit better. So what we can do is that we can create our own class. I will just say my para. And we will access only this element. I will show you the difference and we can copy and paste this class in other elements as well. So in the style.css, I will access my para since it was a class. So --my para. Now we can say text align and here we can say justify. This is another new property for us, justify. Let's see what happens. So since I said justify, what it did is that it automatically added some amount of extra spacing so that every line occupies the same amount of width. So here, see, R is ending here only, M, I, E, everything ends at the same width. But under the header to this paragraph, it is, yeah, also text is aligned by default towards the left. So as you can see, it is left. So this is not justified text. This is justified text. Basically, justified means that every line occupies the same amount of width. Let's just copy and paste this in the other elements as well. Copy, paste, done, save, hit refresh. Now it's looking a bit better. And now I also want to add a horizontal rule. I will show you what that is. Simple as HR. HR means horizontal rule. Let's see what it does. It added a small line, as you can see. Here, there is basically, you can say a page divider. I don't know if you can see this. It is very transparent, but it is noticeable when you actually visit this website. So yeah, our website is turning out to look a bit better now. It has a carousel which has multiple images. It has a header. It has a navigation bar. It has some information that you may want to display on your website. Now, what else is remaining? What is another element that every website should have? Basically, just like we have this navigation bar, so we can also add a footer. So what is a footer? Basically, it's the thing which is at the bottom of the website. Like some websites have it, some don't. So footer is basically a element which is at the bottom of the web page. Like if you scroll all the way towards the down, you sometimes you may find contact information, about information, address, copyright information, whatever within that footer element. So every website should have that, because some businesses need to show their contact information. So that is a convenient way to do it. Like have your business information on your actual web page, and at the bottom of the web page within the footer, you can add your contact information as well. And along with contact information, there is some stuff related to the web page as well. So let's add that. Let's create a footer. So the footer tag is just as simple as this. Remember that this tag was introduced in HTML5 and it was not there before this. So, but like all the modern operating systems are supporting HTML5 only. So no need to worry about this. This will 100% work in your code as well. So footer, and as I explained in the carousel example, whatever you want to create, carousel example or the navbar example, whatever you want to create, the Bootstrap has a class for it. So I'll just say footer, Bootstrap class called footer. Then within this footer, I also want this footer to be of dark theme. So I'll just say BG dark. I have already used this theme in the navigation bar, so why not use it again? So a basic footer was created. In this, I will just show you an example by creating a basic T tag, and I'll just say footer. What happens? Let's see. So here, see, a small footer was added, and here it says, I'll just zoom in. Here it says footer in very small text because it was a P tag by itself. So now what we need to do is we have complete control over our footer. Like we can make it however we want it to be. So I again prefer doing this in a grid-like format, like a row, create a row and have multiple columns. I will explain why that is important. So again, let's create a row. So I will just say dot row and tab, div class of row was created. And in this, if a row is created, then we also need columns. So column of, again, I will create three columns. So we want to occupy the grid space entirely. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. So within this column, I will create an unordered list again. Within this, I will say li. If there is a list, then a list item is supposed to be there. So li, and what we can do is we can add the links to our web page again. So anchor tag for that, href for home.html, and let's just say home. Yeah, we have 3 pages in total. So again, list tag, anchor tag, open, close, href, we are giving the reference. Again, now let's add about page. Here say about. Again, we want to create another list item, li, a tag open, a tag close. VS Code is automatically closing it for me. Now I will say href contact.html. Within the a tag, say contact. Whatever you want to say, you can. My pages are about and contact. That's why I mentioned that. So now you can see the footer has 3 list items, and again the same problem of this only. Like what we did over with the navigation bar, same thing we need to do it again. And again, this footer is exceeding the width of my browser. So the class for that was container fluid. Save, go back, hit refresh. The bottom scroll bar is gone now. So in this, I also want a header. So for that, I'll say p dot. I'll use h3 this time, and I also want padding of 20 pixels, and I'll hit tab. Within this p tag, I will say just say footer. I also want this to be centered, so I'll add another class text center. I'll just say footer, and below this, I'll add a horizontal just to make it look a bit better. So see, now since we gave it a class of bg dark, this was also by default dark, and so we don't want that. If we want to make out any text white in color, Bootstrap has conveniently provided us a class of text white. If I hit refresh, it is now white in color. That's how convenient Bootstrap is. So now I also want to add headers to my unordered lists. So I'll add again a p of, let's say, since this was h3, I want this to be smaller, so h5. Like if you have multiple headers and there is one big header, like a main header and multiple subheaders, so always prefer to have the main header as the bigger one and subheaders as the smaller one. So in this, I'll say navigation, because these are the navigation links. I'll just hit save. Again, we need to text center this and text white also. It will be centered and white in color. See, navigation was added. Now I think you must be getting the hang of what Bootstrap actually is. It is basically just adding classes to your elements. Everything has been coded by Bootstrap. Like text white, what are they actually doing? What do they do? They say dot text white, because we included that only, and in this they have color of white. That's it. So we did not have to come onto our CSS page, declare a class in the home page, then add this syntax, then specify the color. So that's why it is convenient. So we created one column. Now let's stylize these list items as well. So what I want to do, we can specify a class called my footer. This is not a navigation bar, this is a footer, and I'll say my footer. Here I will say again my, and what I want to do is I again want to change the color of the a tag, set it to white. Let's not set it to white, let's set it to a custom color. So for that, FFFFF, this is the hex code, the hexadecimal code of white. So if I hover over this, I get this. VS Code has conveniently provided me this color box basically. So I can select any color I want. Whatever you like, you can select it. I want it to be a bit towards the gray, but not too gray. So this is the hex code for that, C4, C4, C4. If I hit save both the files. Always remember to save all files. And now it is light gray in color. I also want to increase the font size. So let's do that. Now this must be familiar to you, right? I'll just say 15 pixels. 15 is what it was by default. So let's change it to 20. This is actually what HTML and CSS coding is. You come here, you change the value, you see that it's not looking that good, then increase it a bit more. I want it to be 22 now. Now I am happy with this. I also want the padding to be padding bottom specifically, because I want to increase the space between the home link and the about link, and also the space between about link and contact link. So easiest way to do that is padding bottom of 10 pixels. If I hit save, alt tab, refresh. Okay, so padding bottom cannot be added to the anchor tag because that is actually the link tag. So we need to specify that. Li padding bottom. Now it worked. The padding was added. I also don't want this hover effect. So again, the same thing. My footer of a of hover, colon hover, specifying the hover property. Now change the color to, I want a color to be darker than this. So I will select a darker color. Also text decoration to none, because we don't want that unnecessary underline if we hover just like this. We don't want that. And we also want to remove this bullet point. I don't like this bullet point here. I just want it to be as it is. So for that, there is a property called list style type of none. Now if I save this, all the changes, the 3 changes which I made should be applied. See, bullet points were gone, hover effect is working, and if I actually click on that, it takes me to the about page. I'll go back to home. So navigation was done. Now since we are the ones who made this, we wrote this, so I can copy and paste. There is no problem with that. I said I wanted three columns, so I'll just say social. Like normally you also have your social media links at the bottom, and also you have your contact details, as I mentioned earlier. So here we won't be having this thing, or we can have links. Let's just have links. No, doesn't matter. You can have, normally social media list items are links only, so let's keep it at link only. So what else is there? Instagram, Twitter. Yeah. So under the social tag, we added this. Under contact tab, we will normally have our email and stuff, right? So firstly, let's add a P of H2, not H2. I want this to be H5. Let's have a name here. I'll just say Sherlock Holmes. What is Sherlock Holmes' address? So that is Baker Street, 212 Baker Street, and whatever his number is. Again, P, class of H5. So yes, let's see how this looks. Yeah, so we have navigation, social, and contact. Since we changed the this thing, the color to color of only the A tags, it was not applied over here. So we simply need to add another element in our CSS file, my footer of T. Set the color to white, FFF, and we also need to specify hashtag so that it knows it's a hex code. It worked. So yes. Now let's make some small changes into our website. Since we have a few minutes left, let's make some small changes. So what we can do, I don't like this spacing between these 2 elements. So let's add padding again. So for that, there are multiple ways to do it, but I want the padding to be equal between these two elements. Like if I say padding of 30 pixels for this element, then it will add only 30 pixels from the bottom. If I say 30 pixels from this element, again this will add it only from the top side. So I don't want that. So let me find those 2 elements. I think this is it. Yes. So here I will create another div called padding. Or we don't even need to say padding. We'll just say P3 of 30 pixels. We just added a simple division. Nothing was inside this. Now let's see, refresh. See, 30 pixels division was added equally between these 2 elements. So these are small tips that make your website look better. And I just had to add this simple line, and now it's looking much better. So yeah, that's how a footer is created. Here the social media links could be added, the navigation links could be added here, and the text, basic text about your website, whatever it is, business, school website, normally text is written. So this is one way of adding text. this same concept can be used for making a e-commerce website as well. The way they show their products, they show it using rows and columns only. So this is a concept which is used in the industry heavily, the row and column concept. And this is the carousel used for making your website a bit interactive. So yeah, this is how you create a basic website using HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap.